A Journey into the Unknown. Chapter 120. The world is knee-deep in its experience of separation. Each person feels separate from everyone else, with the exception of groups they may have joined, or felt like they were born into. There are some things that people may have a sense of responsibility about, but many other things that most people feel they have had absolutely no role in creating. These are the easiest things to react to and complain about. Fairness and justice are in the eyes of the beholder. There is no justice here. There is retribution and punishment. There are many who were convicted, imprisoned for decades, and then factual data proved that they were wrongfully convicted. Yet these cases had victims and families of victims who received justice. Some were given the death penalty and were not even responsible for committing the crime in question. Where is the justice in these cases? Why does getting what they deserve or getting what they have coming to them involve victims or distant observers feeling better or feeling a sense of righteousness? Who is to say that something was wrong and shouldn't have happened? Where is acceptance and forgiveness in your society? It clearly does not exist on a large scale. Many go after those who wronged them years and decades ago. Their thinking is that their lives would have been better if the perpetrator or perpetrators had not acted as they had and caused the events that they did. There may even be a monetary award for pursuing such matters. And money makes everyone feel better, right? Looking at life's unwanted events and just seeing them as simple, innocent mistakes that may even have large catastrophic results is to look at them through the eyes of love. Chapter 121. Let it all go and begin again. Everyone did what they did or said what they said because of not knowing any better. And more importantly, because of not knowing how to know any better. Therefore, it was done from a place of innocence. This applies to you too. Breathe and begin again. You may have to do this several times an hour in some environments. There are some tough customers out there. You may even be one yourself. But if you're reading this, then you're learning how to make the clouds and weeds dissipate and live here differently. Now what? How can you celebrate your relationship with God? By walking the walk and talking the talk. How can you be of service to love and to your sisters and brothers? Do you act like a religious person? Or do you stop acting altogether and just be yourself? The latter is what we ask of you and of everyone. Just be yourself, free of the past, free of guilt, free of worry, and full of love. Be an individualized expression of love. Be helpful and do no harm. You represent a mighty, powerful army of companions. We are with you always. Chapter 122. What does faith mean? Faith is a deep knowing of certainty. Faith is knowing who and what you are in truth. The false identity led you to this sacred place in truth, and for that we are eternally grateful. It was all for a reason. It had great purpose. The character you played this time around was performed so brilliantly that it itself became your teacher and pointed the way home. Not here, it said. Hotter, hotter, on fire, it finally said, when you discovered your true self, when it was hiding in plain sight all along. You can't go backwards. There are no hiding places anymore. And really, why would you? The game of hide and go seek is over. Now it's time to stop pretending. Stop playing games. You are an aspect of God, a child of God, a mature soul, the elevated self of form. No labels are required. Your job is now to light up and show the way to the exits. The play is over. Now let the true living begin. Chapter 123. There is a way to live on the earth in a deep, vast way. You get the big picture, and that you are the big picture. But you can enjoy the simple things on the surface too. You can talk about the weather with a friend, or have a cup of coffee and a donut. You can do both, and you can do them at the same time. Living in a deep way is to see the big picture and to really understand your role, which is to be a blessing to others and to help them find their own vastness and their own connection to it. Help them to find their own creative ways to respond to the vastness, to the connection of everything to everything. This is entirely different from walking around in the dark and not really knowing who you are, or who anyone is, or what anything is for. The world has been in this stage of disconnect since humans first appeared on it. It's just been make it up as you go along. And then some of the made-up beliefs stuck around and are especially hard to get rid of. What we are and how did we get here are the questions everyone wants to know on some level. Now that you know the answers to these deep questions, perhaps you can find ways to share. Share how you relate to the deep aspects of life by not only talking about them, but being an example of a deep sea diver who still needs to come up to the surface for air. Life is not about working at a job you hate, paying bills, and collecting objects to dust. Chapter 124. Let's erase unhappiness from the world. Start with yourself and look around you. Love and appreciate everything around you. They are all gifts, both the pretty and the ugly things too. The "I wish that didn't happen" reminders are probably better teachers than your collection of designer handbags. You required each and every fiber of these things and these events, over and over and over, until this you that we are talking about started to search for the truth, for the substance underneath it all. This led you to me. My teachings are in every form, however obscured they may be. The old you, the small self, vanished like a poof in a magic trick, something that was never really there to begin with, only to reveal something much more amazing. The beauty, grace, and intelligence behind the mystery is what you really are. It's so vast that it really cannot be grasped by the human mind that is so used to looking at all things great and small by defining them and limiting their scope so that the small little brain can judge it and categorize it. You are not a man or a woman, a this or a that. You are everything and nothing in particular. Blessed are the meek in spirit, for they shall inherit the kingdom of God. Rejoice in all things your heavenly Father, Mother, divine source of all creation has given to you, to help you to return home to them while you walk the earth on your victory lap. Chapter 125. We begin this day by reflecting on where we've been, where we've gotten stuck, and how to move forward. Maybe some of you come from a religious tradition, and some of you were raised without a religion, either heavy or light versions of it. Then maybe you turned into a seeker and looked off the beaten path for life's truth. Maybe you felt like you found something that resonated with you, and then you thought of yourself as a spiritual person, something that has different meanings depending on who you ask. Just like it is difficult for many religious people to put religious principles into action, so it is with many spiritual people. They have trouble moving past the feel-good aspect to actually doing something with their knowledge. So here we are with millions of dedicated religious people and spiritual people and angry secular people, all of whom don't really know what direction to go in, or how they can truly make a difference in the world. In other words, the world is stuck. The world has these massive bodies of passionate people who are unable to get to the root of any problem in order to actually solve it and stop talking about solving it. If this describes you and the people you know, then know that everyone is on a crashing jet airliner. Grab your oxygen mask and then help others with theirs. Leaving the world of ideas and perceptual identity to be a free-flowing, free spirit, connected to all and free as a bird to indiscriminately bless others, is the answer everyone has looked for and no one has really been able to put into practice. We do not seek to create more religious people, or more spiritual people, or more secular people. We only seek to create people who don't believe that they are people. Chapter 126. You are never alone in a room. You are the visible representation of an entire team. You do not have to just rely on yourself. Put us to work. We can't mop the kitchen floor for you, but we can inform you. You can share with us. We are well connected. If you are concerned for a specific someone's health and well-being, tell us. We will pass your love on to that person's team. Let's call this prayer on steroids. The more love that is infused into a difficult situation, the more likely that there will be a positive outcome. The person has to be willing to receive your gifts of love, but they will never be wasted. They will sit under the Christmas tree until it is time to unwrap them. Christmas is not just on December 25th. It's on every day of the year, every hour, every minute, and every second. You are that powerful, and it doesn't cost a penny. Chapter 127. When you minister to another aspect of God, ask for miracles, and then simply say, "What can I do? What do you need?" They don't need to know what you're actually doing behind the scenes, and that you're creating a love tsunami. People are growing tired of thoughts and prayers, and really question whether prayer works at all. Traditional prayer is usually begging and pleading that something be fixed. If nothing is amiss, then what we need to do is bring comfort and to bring a new way of thinking about the situation, an eventual acceptance and peace. Our form of prayer is an extension of our spiritual gifts. Your spiritual partners on our side of the veil can bring comfort in ways that you cannot. This is why we say that living this way is a true partnership in unity. If your presence and influence can prevent a tragedy, so be it. It may help an individual's soul to have time to grow and develop before a tragedy is the only way that learning can occur. If you are a teacher in a school, it is in the student's best interest to allow you to mold and shape their behavior in the classroom before you have to involve parents or administrators. You are each a catalyst. You can prevent suffering, and you can ease suffering after the fact. With both of these actions, you can use your power to speed up the process of awakening. Chapter 128. Take your time in the morning before you start out for the day to really ground yourself in spirit. Soak us up and take us wherever you go. The world has a knack of inundating you with all of the myriad of problems from the separation. Remember, the separation is the one and only problem. Everything else is an effect of the separation, which never really happened and is quite impossible. You cannot be what you aren't. What you are in truth is an aspect of God. You have a body to experience the world of form and an operating system that is riddled with perceptual errors. Multiply what you have experienced as a person times the billions that are here at any given time, and you can see the scope and scale of the problem. I have taught that the separation is not real, and yet your world has seen the disastrous results of this mistaken belief. Not only is there a separation between God and man, but between individuals and communities of individuals, and it has always been this way since the start of the Earth Project. For all intents and purposes, there is large-scale and small-scale separation here, and healing it is both time and labor intensive. You have only your own experience to testify to this. The situation is a paradox, and yet we are in desperate need of your faithful assistance in showing the world that separation is perceptual only. You are needed to show union and to show that it is the only real thing here. Chapter 129. There's electricity in the air. All of this ugliness is coming up to the surface. People are clueless as to what to do with it, except throw it around. When bitterness of any kind arises in you, what do you do with it? What can you do with it? Don't reject it and say that it shouldn't be there. It should be there. It came to tell you something. It wants your attention. It's like a barking puppy. It wants your love. Bitterness is not at all like a cute animal. In fact, it can be quite ugly. But it wants you to see it and to own it. Take responsibility for creating it. What is it saying to you? Why is it there? There is something that you are not accepting and not loving. It's like a basket of fruit that is turning rotten. Maybe it was a basket of bananas, and you hate bananas. Love and respect what life gives you. Dig deep and see where you are rejecting what life gives you. Life only gives you what you need. When you are one with life, you will accept the things you like and the things you don't. Always looking for meaning, loving everything, even the unwanted, unwelcome, and ugly.